We live in a fast-paced and hectic world where it's easy to feel overwhelmed, stressed, and out of control. How do you manage all the competing pressures without losing sense of yourself? How do you stay focused enough to not only plot a path, but follow it? Welcome to Master Your Life, a show that offers inspiration, insight, and intelligence, as well as success stories from many walks of life that can show you how you can control your own destiny. Our knowledgeable and entertaining host and her guests give practical advice that you can use every day in the quest to master your life. Now, here's your host, Leaha Mattinson.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's show. I'm so excited to have each and every one of you joining us from wherever it is that you are on this beautiful planet Earth. We're so happy to have you with us. And I'm saying us because I know those of you who are watching on the podcast or listening on the podcast cannot see who my guest is, but those who are tuning in on a masteryourlife.ca website are seeing the beautiful, vivacious master herbalist, Erika Ramelli. Erika, welcome to today's show.
Hello, Master Your Life family. How are you doing today? I'm so excited to be here. Thank you, Leaha.
Awesome. So today, Erika, we're talking about a very important subject. And what we want to start out with is just talking about what exactly is stress and why is stress management such a big, hairy deal in this day and age? So let's dive right into what are your ideas about what stress is? What's a good explainer?
This is one of my favorite topics because it's like everything that happens to us in life stems from this one trunk. Like we have all these branches, but really everything comes out of this how we manage stress trunk. So I am so excited that we get to talk about this today. Let's start by saying what is stress and kind of create our glossary, right, of terms. So when you stress, it sends the body into a response of having to keep you, the queen of this queendom, which is your body, yes, or the king of the kingdom, alive and well. And all of these processes get activated with only one purpose: keep the queen safe, keep the king safe. So the most common reason for stress is what we call acute stress. So it's an unexpected event that happens. We go through life, we're having a great life, and suddenly what happens? There's a car accident, there's a disease, there's a death in the family, you lose your job. It's a one single isolated event that was kind of unexpected. Boom, happens. That's really acute stress. It sends you into this response of having to problem solve immediately. That if we have, through all of your tools, which I really hope you share with us today, of Qigong, of mindfulness, right? We're able to prevent acute stress from turning into episodic stress. So that's our second phase, right? We go from acute to an episode. What's an episode? Well, very obvious, as the name says it. So you have this isolated event that turns into something else, that triggers something else, that triggers something else. And before you know it, you're in the snowball effect of one crazy thing after the other, and you lose your job, and then you walk out the building and you slip and you break your wrist, and then you, and so. And you know what, guys? We all know that one family that yes, just these things keep on happening, and you go, but why? And that's the mentality. It's the mentality and the mindset that only bad things will happen, or they're expecting it, or it comes from a place of fear. So not being able to handle your acute stress will lead into an episodic stress, which leads to our third one. If you were unable to control these two, you end up in chronic stress. And that's where I think a lot of the population of the world lives in. We live in this state where the mind or the body is always in this fight mode, in the survival mode, yes, which leads to lack of sleep and insomnia and inflammation and poor digestion and mood swings. And eventually that, Leaha, is what we call a personality. we end up developing these personality traits based on how we live life. Mm-hmm. So how about today and please add anything that you want to add to this. You probably have a lot of wisdom to share with us on it. But those are the top 3 stresses. And please, guys, check yourself to see where you're at and what you can do to prevent your body and your mind from continuing into the next one.
Yes, get out your paper and pen and make sure that you're making notes, because again, that is taking what is this sort of ideas and bringing them down onto paper. So a paper and pen, or write it on your phone so that you can keep track of these things. And this is excellence in coaching, when we encourage you to actually write things down or get them written down. So it helps you to remember. How I used to frame stress to clients when I was doing executive coaching was saying, well, it's the difference really between what you think your life is, what you really want, and then what is actually happening. And the gap between those two things is where the structural tension lies. And so in that structural tension, you can only either bring down what you really want for your life to meet what's actually happening, to relieve the pressure within your body, or you have to raise your expectations and raise your behavior to meet your expectations, or raise your outcomes to meet your expectations. And then that closes that gap, and then you're able to feel relief in the body. And people go, wow, that sounds like it'd take a really long time. Like, not necessarily. So we'll talk more about that today. Yes.
And you do that more of a mindset type deal, or like a vibrational, when you speak about that gap,
sure.
Is it like a vibrational gap? Like you're so low vibe that you kind of enter this state of murkiness that really removes you from this high vibrational, happy, rainbows, life is beautiful state?
Yeah, I think it's not just vibrational, though. I think it's actually what's occurring in your life. So let's say that you have an idea that you're going to meet Mrs. Perfect, Mrs. Right, and you've got her dialed in, what she's going to look like, what she's going to do, what she's going to do, and then you keep dating people that are not her, and they don't come close, and then you keep going, well, where is she? Or conversely, if it's a male-female, that switch, you go, hey, it's like I had this idea about this really great person I was going to meet, or a really great job I was going to have, or this fantastic body that I was going to create. And every day instead, what I end up with is stuff that is actually not meeting what I had pictured for my life.
Uh-huh.
And so it's not just energetic. It's actually when I walk out my door, when I look over at my partner in my bed, they're not what I imagined. The work I'm doing is not what I imagined. So it's 3D, it's in the real world. And that's then you're able to do something with it. If it's just energetic, you can control your energy 100% of the time. I agree with you, Erika, around that. It's how you respond to things, that you wake up in the morning, you've got a happy vibration and you're bringing your best game all the time, and that you think about possibilities. And you also need to activate on those things to actually change things in life. So there is a connection between the spiritual or the imagined or the etheric and the 3D world that we live in. I think what people make the mistake of going, if I just keep imagining that the good stuff's going to happen, then they don't do anything in the 3D world, which is
stay in this kind of dreamy space. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
You bring something really beautiful, and it's the expectations, because I always say, pain is part of life. It is. Yeah. And suffering is, but suffering is really optional.
Yes.
It's this ability that we have to recognize that suffering has a root cause. And actually Buddhism speaks about the Four Noble Truths in such a beautiful way. And one of them is suffering is part of life. But second noble truth is really there's a cause. and the third is, well, if you find the cause and you address it, then you remove it, right, which ends up leaving you into this the happy world, right?
Yes. In Hermetics, I'll just actually add on to this, to the Buddhist philosophy, but in Hermetics, the idea is that you can create a beautiful life, and that it's up to you to do that each day. Most of the time, it's in the 3D world. And so there's these contrasting things where sometimes people are really spending a lot of time trying to escape their reality. And in Hermetics, it's more like, no, it's like we're actually looking at the reality going, oh, what is it I'm really creating here with my thoughts and my deeds and my action and my conscious activity. And so I think that we've been hijacked a bit into thinking that we can pray everything away. And if I get unembodied, then this 50 extra pounds that I was carrying will magically disappear. It's like not exactly how it works. So that's why I encourage people to really do think about this, like where you are, what it is you're creating, what's the structural tension you're holding in your body. Is it something that you need to give pause to so that you can have inspiration rise up, which you and I talk about, that wellness from within, to bring the stress down. So by fixing something, changing something, or releasing something, which we can choose to do also, because there's so many things that are outside of our control. Back to the idea that life is suffering, or it's divine. So when you get in that car accident and somebody smashes into you, maybe that's the man of your dreams that just showed up there. It's like, what? How'd that happen?
Yes,
I didn't like that car anyway.
That's funny. But it is like that. It is a question of attitude. And that's why for you guys who are listening, I mean, Leaha and I have been talking, teaching, living, breathing stress and coping with stress, helping individuals deal with it in empowered ways. That doesn't mean that I don't have stress. Okay. I want to be really clear with that. It's not about not having, it's about learning to identify root causes, symptoms, and being able to address them before your single isolated episode or single acute event turns into more episodes, turns into chronic, develops into long-term personalities. And then we just say, yeah, so-and-so is just impatient. That's her personality, or angry or resentful. That's not how we're born. Those are personality traits and behaviors we adopt. And I invite you to drop them.
Yes, but really think about what you said, Erika. I want to encourage people to think about it, because what you're telling people to do is feel their feelings, which I think we skim over, right? It's like, oh, I'm not supposed to feel anything about that. I'm not supposed to feel anything about my family abandoning me, or my, diagnosis of this or that, or people being sick or whatever. I'm just supposed to not feel anything, which isn't true. It's actually, you need to feel your feelings so you can actually go, man, this sucks. I don't like it. What am I going to do?
And address it.
Ouch, ouch. It's like, we're not supposed to notice the ouches, because then you must not be positive. And that doesn't work in this vibe. You've got to be positive all the time. It's like, hang on a minute. That's not real life.
That's a fake positive.
That's a fake false positive. False positive. Still all equally negative. Because you're going to have to deal with that crap at some time. It's going to, and I know I'm using maybe crass language, but you are going to have to deal with the compost of your life at some point. So we have seasons. There are things that are dying off the vine all the time. There's things that we let go of all the time, and that we, bring into our life also at the same time. So it's up to us to go, oh, did that feel good or not? And if it's no, it's then, why do you keep doing it? Why do we keep doing it? And then we go, well, my mom told me to do it, or my dad. And then we blame everybody else for all the stuff that we create. But it's because we've been told over and over again that somebody knows better than we do what's good for us in this body. And for those people who missed episode number 1 with Erika, I want to encourage you to go back and listen to that, because we talked about this a lot, about knowing who you are. And so go back to that episode and listen to it so you can get the juicy Cole's notes on how to do that, that. Yes.
Owning who you are. I really want to encourage people to pause, like you just said, feel the feelings, and then being able to recognize, what is it that you need to address? Is it something intangible? Right? Is it something that is very emotional based and very perception based, of maybe something, a trauma or a situation that happened to you, or maybe a wrongdoing, right? You invested with this partner, the thing dissolved, they took the money and you kind of left, and these are very intangible things, right? They're kind of emotional. There's resentment there. But there's another aspect to stress, which is very physical, which is very tangible. And that is a manifestation of something that you're doing. Maybe you're gaining weight. Maybe you're losing weight. Maybe you're not sleeping as well as you should. Maybe you're not having proper eating habits. And that is leading to a potential disease, or something like that could be addressed with something tangible. What do I mean by that? You need a supplement, you need sunshine, okay. So please identify first where you're at. Is it something from your past that you're still carrying? Or is it something that is happening physically already and needs to be addressed with something of this 3D world that you talk about, which is nutrition, supplements, sunshine?
Right. And start the self-diagnosis also of going, where am I carrying extra weight in my life too? Like, what's the heavy, weighty subjects?
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah, thanks. Because sometimes you're not even aware of actually how much pain you're in, because you've been stuffing feelings for so long and stress for so long, and it is chronic. So what you will do is start to manifest more weight. So either through, not good breathing or actual physical weight on your body, like 5 pounds turns into 10 pounds, turns into 20 pounds, turns into 50 pounds, turns into 100 pounds. And then you're so surprised. Every time I get on the phone with clients who are, looking for long-term weight loss from being very overweight, they'll say, wow, it's like I did not even notice the last 70 pounds go on. And it's because we're so tuned out of all these stressors, and compassion fatigue also, which if people didn't tune into the last couple of episodes with Erika and I, we really talk about that. So instead of noticing our feelings and going, this is causing me stress, I imagined my life was going to be like this, up here, and it was going to be high vibe and I was going to be doing good things in the world. But instead, every time when I wake up out of bed, I feel like I can't even get traction on just the basic things like making my bed. Those things you can start to have movement on, but notice that you've got things going on in your body that aren't right. Feel your body, like feel your tummy, feel your backside, if you're a woman, feel your breasts, like feel your arms, feel your body and see what's going on with it. Again, this is getting you back into this body that we're here in, the temple that we live in, not in this ethereal sort of woohoo out there thing, because we're living here in this body. We're living here. And so I go, oh, I didn't even notice that this was going on. And some of you might go, wow, this is actually pretty good. But some people might go, that wasn't there, last week or, 3 months ago when I started taking care of these other people, or, hanging out with a different group of friends that I wasn't doing before, and maybe they're not high vibrational people and you're really looking for those high vibe people and just maybe haven't found them yet. So whatever it is, but checking out the weightiness of the subject matter and noticing your feelings, if you can, is important. So Erika, what would be another way that people might notice that they're not tuned into their feelings?
Let's start with the obvious, your weight. Okay, you just mentioned something very tangible, very easy. Anytime that we enter states of stress, our body embodies that energy. Those currents go up and down, and they make you either eat more or eat less, because you're either so stressed, this is not the time to eat, hello, or because you're so stressed, you need more calories, hello. So yes. Either way, I want you to please pause and notice. Now, if you have weight around the lower part of your belly, okay, so like the closer part to the belly button, that is mainly related to excess of cortisol and adrenaline in the body. Those are directly stress-related hormones. So that is going to be a very different program for nutrition and exercise than if you're carrying weight on the upper part of your belly, right? More the diaphragm part. So if the weight is mainly 3 fingers above the belly button, that's very weight related to food. So watch your carbs, watch your fats, maybe the amount of alcohol you're consuming, that and exercise. But if the weight you're carrying is below the belly button, that is a telltale sign that this is related to stress and your perception to your reality and how you talk to yourself, because we tend to be so harsh with ourselves. You mentioned earlier expectations, right? People wanting to date this particular person or have this particular job. So I want to invite you to really take a look at those expectations and ask yourself this. Are you ready?
Ready.
Okay.
Ready.
Ask yourself, are those expectations yours, or are those expectations placed there by your parents, the people that raised you, the individuals you grew up with, and your past childhood experiences, right? So because of that, we get handed this kind of manual of what life should be like. And we compare where we're at, how our body looks, what our bank account looks like, the home we live in, with these expectations. And that creates a sense of satisfaction or dissatisfaction, which creates stress. So you have these ideas of what your life should be like at this age. I should have done this or that. Does it match or not? And if there's no alignment, we stress, we suffer. So guys, homework for today. Are those expectations yours because it's really in alignment with who you are and what you know you can achieve? Or was it placed there by those individuals that raised you and your society?
Right. I think this is important, Erika, to just pick up on the society thing a little bit, because right now, I would say I'm a stress management expert.
Yes.
I would. I am a stress.
Absolutely.
So when this stuff came in 2020 about needing to mask, I'll tell you guys that this is confidential between you and the 1 million people who are listening to the podcast. When that masking mandate came in, I'm pretty body aware, so I could feel myself have a cortisol dump. And so for people who want to actually do self-experimentation, this is a really good experiment of noticing when your belly goes, like you can feel this cortisol actually rushing from the back of your body into your belly, and it fills up your belly, and it actually feels like you're carrying a baby. It's like really uncomfortable, really huge. And it's very, it hurts.
Like bloating and yes.
Like bloating and heaviness, and it hurts. So, when you go, this is important about not just this emotional feeling, but when your physical body hurts and you go, holy man, that hurts. It brings tears to my eyes. That's how much pain. And so it also, when you know the pain that it causes and you go, what is my actual response here? You know how much that idea is away from your idea of freedom in your life. So these are important, very, very important things to notice, to recognize, and to honor. So to go, okay, I went, okay, Leaha Mattinson, how are you gonna deal with this? Because this doesn't jive with you. So I've done things in my life to make sure that I can manage not wearing one.
Could you share that with us? What are some of those things? And maybe this is a good time for both of us to share. Yes, when we feel stress, we teach the stuff, right? So what do we do in order to kind of rebalance? Maybe you guys, if you're listening, you might be able to get a few tips that could be quite helpful for you.
Yes. And I think a lot of people have people in their life that are fine with masking. And so this is not a judgment about anybody doing anything. It was just not for me. I have a serious health condition that I want to make sure I take care of my health. Breathing is part of that. Good, free, deep breathing is part of that. Not breathing in my recycled air, even as awesome as I am, I don't want to do that, so I want to breathe free oxygen. Even my air, I don't want to rebreathe.
I love you. You're awesome.
So I never bought one. I never bought a mask. I went, I'm not buying it. I'm not supporting it. And whatever anyone else does is totally up to you. I walk into the store. I've got a smile on my face. I buy my stuff. If it's not convenient, I order things online. So when I was living in a place that had more, because I've moved, because I'm helping out my parents. So I'm in a smaller center now. But when I lived in the city, I would order Instacart or whatever to bring groceries to my door, because I just wouldn't have time to go out either with all of the shenanigans. So I definitely did that. And but just going in and smiling at people. I've never been approached, not even one time, to put one on. I've gone in shopping with people that are wearing masks, so they can make a choice. Everyone
should do what they need to do to be in alignment. You need to know your body, you need to know your health, you need to know you. And that's how we started this whole conversation today. You need to know you. That's right. And you need to be able to notice what your body is communicating and take action. Now, but you also said so beautifully at the beginning, we cannot be blaming people.
No.
So blaming others for your choices, not okay. Okay, not okay. So do the things that keep you happy, healthy, and hold that.
Yeah. And I also honored exactly what other people, I don't go shop in stores where I think, there might be a bunch of people here who feel vulnerable. So I just wouldn't do it. So I am compassionate to my fellow man. I don't go, I'm just going to go everywhere and, go and run up and hug people when they're not comfortable with that. I don't do that. So I've curbed some of my behavior because I'm definitely a hugger, and you just never know, right? If people now, it's just like, I wouldn't have hesitated before to give people a hug. But this past week, actually, a gal that has worked for Alberta Health Services for a number of years, who grew up beside us in little old Viking, Alberta. Well, she married somebody from Viking. So I'm a farm girl from Viking, Alberta, Canada. And so she ran up to
big metropolis of
I know.
Viking, Alberta, Canada.
You'd all just envy my rubber boots and my gardening gloves. So my gardening hands, so nice. But we were, so she ran up to us in the store. My mom and I were in there, and she was masked. My mom was masked. I wasn't. She gave us a great big hug, and she goes, "How's the Mattinsons doing?" It's like, it was so nice, because she's had to go through all of the working for Alberta Health Services, lots of stressors, and the,
there's a human component that's needed.
Yeah, exactly. So
which is medicine
in the moment. Exactly. Hug each other, love each other, and we're not, I think that the other thing that's been incredibly sad is people thinking that other people are going to kill them. It's like, we're no more deadly than we were in 2019, So if you had a grandma that was, not in good shape, you wouldn't go and hug her up. If you had a big cold, nobody that was, just sensible at all wouldn't do that. Anyway, so off in the weeds. So Erika, what about you? What have you done around all this?
When it comes to stress, for me, there's three things that are super important, and they always kind of come back to my bases. So this is a good time for you guys to grab your pen and paper, and these are my top three. Go to one, I listen to music that helps me relax, and I become very picky with the noises around me. So turn off the TVs that you're not watching, turn off music and sounds that are just not conducive to you feeling very relaxed. If you're listening and you're interested, I have a playlist on Spotify that I'm happy to share with you. Just reach me on social media or something. I'm happy to share it. But it's a peace at home playlist, and that's what I play. So that is super important to me. Two, I boost my immune system, because when you are stressed, your immune system gets compromised because in this constant state of alertness. And for that, I would recommend some oregano, just good old simple oregano. So get some oregano from a backyard if you have some. Hopefully, if you're not spraying for mosquitoes, then yes, you can consume it. But if you're growing herbs and you're spraying pesticides, well, hell no. But so oregano is awesome. It has tons of antiviral, antimicrobial, antibacterial properties. You can make an infusion with it, add some mint to make it taste good, and a little cinnamon. So you can make an infusion that tastes really awesome. And that's kind of my second go-to, making sure that I am drinking things that really help my body be ready. I love medicinal mushrooms. So I also consume tonics with reishi, with lion's mane, with cordyceps, turkey tail, lots of really cool stuff. And then the third thing I do, which this is probably a little unique to people, but, let me see. If you're watching this, this is a good time to jump in camera. I have a tuning fork back here.
Yes.
Let me grab this one since it's right here. So I work a lot with vibration. That's kind of my deal. So I have here a tuning fork that is weighted. This is 128 Otto. So you tap it. And it creates these beautiful overtones. I don't know if you guys can hear it on the microphone. Let me see.
I could hear it.
A little bit or not. Well. So this creates a vibration. And I tap this guy like that and place it on my chest bone, on the sternum. And that vibration triggers or spikes nitric oxide. And nitric oxide is what helps us balance the stress hormones. It neutralizes it. So in a way, this is a great practical manual tool to reset stress hormones. You're feeling stressed because of whatever happened in life. You had a fight with your partner, you're caring for someone, you just got fired, you got disease appeared, whatever it is. Get yourself one of these guys. They're not that expensive. Tap it, and you can place it on your forehead. You can place it on your chest. You can place it on pressure points, acupressure points, joints, bones. It actually uses your bones to carry the vibration up and down the body. So those are my absolute go-tos. Music, some kind of herb to boost my immune system, and a tuning fork. And another thing that you mentioned a little earlier, when you were talking about the pain, when cortisol kind of comes closer to the front of the body and moves, and it feels like you're heavy and bloated, your lymphatic system gets congested. And this particular tuning fork is beautiful for that because, again, you can tap it and you can literally place it under your jaw. And if you're watching the video, you can jump in now and kind of take a look at what I'm doing. But you place it and gently move it down the neck to help drain your lymphatic system.
Yeah,
that's what I do.
So when I have the cortisol dump, I should just have taken a moment to explain that almost every solution for me is Qigong. So
What do you do with Qigong on that one?
So with Qigong, do tapping, fire breathing, never jumping. Qigong is not jumping. So there's like knocking on your heels. So when you rise up and then you knock down on your heels and you shake your body. So I'll just back up a little bit. So for the people who are tuned in, you can see, but you shake your body, shake your body, shake here, tap your belly. So you stick your belly out and then you pull it in as you breathe. So you exhale, fill the belly, inhale, opposite. So inhale, fill the belly, exhale, pull it towards your backbone. So then you're actually consciously moving that blockage out of there. But I use Qigong for everything. So 30 seconds to 3 minutes of Qigong, of moving your body, shaking, and you'll feel what's tight. So people go, is it have to be formal? Is it like Tai Chi? No, it's not. It's like when you notice something is blocked in your body, it's just literally shake your body and move your body until the blockage disappears. So when I get up in the morning and I'm emptying the dishwasher or whatever, I do Qigong. It's like, I go, I'm a little bit sore there. Okay, I better shake it out here and shake it out there and, put the dishes away in flow, so that all of the tension is moving from your body. So it's very bioresonant. So you could just be doing that all the time because we notice little stresses all the time. It's like, oh, what I wanted to eat wasn't in the fridge. Little stressor, whoop, just a little couple knocks, right? I got to do more mopping the floor. Okay, that could be done as a Qigong movement. I know people go mopping the floor.
Shake it. Yeah, baby.
Yes, exactly.
Shake it.
So everything opportunity to release stress. And actually Qigong is called stress mastery, energy mastery, stress mastery, Qigong. Yes. So that's my go-to.
As you shared, this idea of moving the energy, maybe some people that are listening might not be familiar what that looks like. But if you feel in the body that energy is not flowing, it's just your vitality, like there's something that's stuck. It's almost like if you're going to, like making your bed, like I was just having that vision. You make your bed and what do? You need to kind of shake that blanket or that duvet in order to unroll it and being able to have it flat again. It's the same thing with the body. Energy kind of gets crumbed up because it gets pushed into a corner, into an area, and it's important through that shaking to kind of, release it. Love it. Yes. How about another thing that people suffer with a lot when it comes to stress? We talked a little bit about the physical aspect, but how about those intangibles? You know, when the heart feels like they've lost someone and they're in grief, or something was done wrong, or according to them, okay? Yes. This is important. Mm-hmm. This is important. You think something was wrong because that's how you view it. I mean, you can change your perception and things will ease up a little. But what do you do? Like the person that was left without the money that was promised, or the person that worked and kind of got fired, according to them, unfairly, or that resentment from that friend that ended up dating your partner? Or how do we heal that? Because that causes stress, and eventually that compromises your immune system, your sleep patterns, your digestion, the flora in your body. So this is a good time for me to talk about probiotics. Super important. If you're not consuming probiotics, you have to. You have to help your body restore that flora. You have to find really good nutraceuticals that help you cope with stress. You cannot do it on your own eating fries and pie.
What?
But no, sorry.
Pie?
On your own? I mean, you can. Actually, of course you can. And you know what? Actually, thank you for saying that, because you can, especially girls when we're in our moon time. Everything gets solved with pie
and fries.
And fries.
I'm an Irish girl. Like fries.
There's a place for everything, and it is not a long-term solution, but it is absolutely a yes for a short-term solution. So yes. But emotionally, those intangibles that cause stress, every time you think about that one episode, do you have a piece of advice for us listening with your great wisdom?
Thanks. It's a great question. And because a couple of things is you have to understand what created the belief about whatever it is you're experiencing in the first place. You know, do you believe that something is a really sad loss because of beliefs that you have held about that particular thing? You know, like when somebody passes away, what are your beliefs about that? And so you need to investigate and go, are they really a loss to me, or are they still available in some way? Like how, and so figure out what your beliefs are around that, where they came from. And if you actually think that the passing of that person has some value to you. And if you can hold that person in your love and in your memory and rejoice and revel in their existence as it was, or if you have to turn it, there's these bits of degrees of turning things to make it kind of victim-y. It's like, and so we need to check ourselves to go, am I really lamenting this person, the loss of this person, or am I using this to get something that I want? Because if I feel really, really, really sad about this, then what am I getting from other people? You know, am I getting nourished from other people? Am I getting lots and lots and lots of sympathy or empathy? And is it?
And that feels good.
And that
attention feels good. The attention feels good.
Feels so good. Feels so good. And especially now in this time when it's so hard to connect with people, you know, so really asking yourself the question, though, am I getting my needs met in a healthy way? Is this the loss of this person, or whatever the circumstance is, the heartache, the heartbreak, the people let you down? And then talk therapy, I think, does have its place. But I think you need to be with somebody who's their expectations is that it's a short term, some way for you to get out and express what your thoughts are about the thing that's stressing you, but that it's not to relive that over and over and over again. It's actually about how are you progressing through healing this thing. And
that's so beautiful. Progressing through the healing. Yes.
Yeah. So I would say those are a couple of major ones. And again, Qigong moves any kind of thought because it's, again, these thoughts are created by our feelings. Feelings can be dissipated and composted and moved through the body physically, so and you guys know this, when you see a little one that has a temper tantrum and they just they're so mad and they're really mad or they're really hurt, and they just go their little body tenses up and then they go, ha, ha, ha. And they do that because they're getting out the feeling. They can't put it into words, but they know that it's an energetic block. So they get rid of it the way that nature says to get rid of it, which is toss it down to Mother Earth, toss it down there, root it, turn it into compost, bring it back as good energy into your body, and it will release itself. So those are my sort of go-tos. Erika, what's your go-tos? What are your ideas around that?
I think the first one is to change the narrative. And you guys will hear me talk about that a lot because we view reality based on our own eyes, based on our own perception. We did all this and they did us wrong. Okay. But then you were expecting people to behave in a way, and that is not okay. You need to do things because you want to do them. You need to show up because it feels good to show up and you're in alignment with showing up. The second you begin to show up and do something out of fear or out of necessity or victimhood or whatever it is, then you've diluted your own alignment in order to go get something. And then when you don't get it, well, yes, of course, you're going to be frustrated.
Right.
Of course, it was just a natural play because you were out of alignment, in fear. I need to stay with this job because I'm not going to be able to find another one. Who's going to want me at this age? Where am I going to go build this thing? Where am I going to go find a different partner? I need to be stuck here and do this, right? So
it's punishment.
And then you do let your job lets you go, the partner ends up with someone else, and you go, how dare, what happened? I invested all these years and time and energy and money, and now what? Yeah, but it was built on fear. It was built on scarcity, and you were out of alignment. And that's what people perceive. People feel you resonating out of alignment. And therefore, they're going to make a decision based on that energy that you are emitting that does not feel good, that doesn't feel true. And then there's a consequence. So my invitation for you today is, if you're listening, is to think about those moments in your life that you feel something was done wrong, and own it. Okay. What were you doing? What were you thinking? What were you expecting right before that? Because that's really the type of water or soil that you were bringing for that particular event to grow. So own it. Now, how do we do that? My favorite practice is called Ho'oponopono. And it's a Hawaiian healing art. And the principle of Ho'oponopono, do we have time to talk about that today?
Yes, we have about 4 minutes. 3 minutes.
Ooh, okay. So I'm going to breeze through this, guys, but you might need to tune into a different episode to go a little more in depth over some of these healing practices. But the Hawaiian healing art of Ho'oponopono is about owning and being responsible for what happens around you. And that can be healed or it can be removed or decongested by saying these 4 words. One is, I'm sorry. Then, please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. So those 4 words, one, when you say I'm sorry, you're really breaking down ego, which is a root cause of a lot of issues. Right? Please forgive me. You're breaking down guilt, shame, which also clogs some of the base chakras. by saying thank you, you invite one of the most powerful forces, which is gratitude. Mm-hmm. And then love. I love you. You top it all off with this incredible, delicious velvet energy of love. So I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And you can say that to your body part that is sick right now. So you can put your hand on the body in the place that needs healing. And you can say, I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. You can imagine a person. You can imagine your mom. You can imagine your ex-boss or ex-partner or ex-neighbor, and say those words mentally or out loud. That would be my go-to.
Love it. Yes. And I think the I love you, really being thoughtful about that, because the word, we gloss over it. But I want to invite you just to take a little step deeper into that and think about if you've ever had a baby or been around a baby and you look at that baby, what kind of love do you feel for that baby? If you're any kind of a normal human being, you feel absolute reverence. You just look at that little thing and you go, oh my, look at you. Look at
melted.
You. And you just get into the vibe of just deep love. And then turn that towards yourself. Mm-hmm. Turn it towards yourself, because you are that little one. You're exactly like that little one. And so you deserve to be loved. We're here to be loved, experience love. And so, Erika, thank you so much for ending this episode on that high note, because that is a high note. So everyone, I hope you got that written down. Last words, Erika, in the last few seconds of the show for our beautiful audience today.
Thank you, Leah. You are in control. It's a choice. Yes, life happens. Yes, things happen. Pain, suffering. Yes, it's part of it. But it is your choice to make a change and change the narrative and take control over your future.
Beautifully put. Beautifully put. Thank you again, Erika, for being such a wonderful co-host. Everyone, love yourselves. Love each other. Mind your minds. That's all for us. Bye for now.
Bye, sweet friend. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for being a part of our program today. Master Your Life is a presentation of Leaha Mattinson Enterprises, Inc. Join us next time on Master Your Life, helping you to discover the very best of you.